The capture of the second and only surviving suspect in the Boston Marathon bombings was welcome news in the city and nearby towns, which had been locked down during a day-long manhunt that ended a horrific week. The two female Chinese victims were in this neighborhood about a block away from us when the deadly bombing happened in the Boston Marathon on the 15th of April. The two victims were students from Boston University. One was killed and the other one was injured, but in stable condition in the hospital right now. Relatives of Boston University student Lu Lingzi, one of three people killed in Monday's bomb blasts, arrived in Boston just hours after the capture of suspect Dzhokhar Tsarnaev. Cui Tiankai, the Chinese ambassador to the United States, met Lu's family at Logan International Airport on Friday night and expressed his condolences.
President Obama gave a speech at the White House after the suspect was brought to justice. He mentioned Lu Lingzi in his speech. Both Chinese and U.S. leaders were very concerned about Lu. News that the suspect has been brought to justice cannot make up for Lu's family's loss, but it may bring them some comfort.
Cui also visited Zhou Danling, a Chinese student injured in the blasts, at Boston Medical Center on Friday. He said Zhou's condition was stable and improving.
She is doing well, better than I expected. She is getting better and she's keeping a positive attitude. I passed on condolences and expressions of support from Chinese leaders and the government and the staff of the Chinese consulate in New York to her and her family. She is still unable to eat normally and said she misses Chinese food very much. We promised we would treat her to a great meal once she fully recovers.
Dzhokhar Tsarnaev is a 19-year-old ethnic Chechen from Russia's Rostov region of Dagestan, whose family in 2002 received a U.S. political asylum. He's suspected of carrying out the Boston bombings with his 26-year-old brother, Timmerland, who was killed later in a shootout with a police officer at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. The officer also died. The bombings killed 3 people and injured more than 170. A high school friend of Timmerland Tsarnaev was shocked that the brothers were identified by police as suspects.
It happened so close to you. It's just one of those things you just see on TV and you hope for the best, but this time we're dealing with it. I didn't see him for the past 2 years, and all of a sudden this happens. I don't know what happened in those 2 years to make him do this.
The investigation into the blasts involved lots of help from the public. Mark Chase was one of those who submitted photos he had taken at the marathon's finish line to the FBI to help authorities.
I was down there and I was filming a lot with this camera, and after the blast had happened, it was just an incredible scene, and I felt like I really wanted to do something, so I found out where the FBI were, and I went down there and I gave them the files.
As local residents cheered in relief that an arrest had been made, they also expressed a sadness over the lives that were lost.
And I feel very sad about this news. And from the BU today, and they always, for the president of the university, they say, to everyone, they have the very sad about the news about the Chinese girl.
What I'm really upset about, beyond the fact that they did this, are the 3 lives that were lost. The Chinese student, her family let her come this way, and they put her in our hands, as a country, and they saw America as a great opportunity for her to grow and to be the best that she can be. And we failed. We didn't do that job because of 2 lunatics. It's not right.
I feel terribly for her parents. It looked like this was a dream for her, and she was living the dream. And part of the dream is Boston itself, and you can't be afraid to go to events.
Authorities in Boston now face the daunting task of trying to determine the motive behind the marathon attack.
Terrorist incident since 9/11.
Right. Yeah.
So, it's really, that's the thing about America is and everybody's connected by the media. It's like everybody wants to solve this problem.
Yuwei, Zhang, China Daily, Boston.